I expected I would have to go to jail, but I don't know when and for how long. But definitely I would not admit guilty, because for somebody who is determined to resist, I would never admit guilty.
And that was Jimmy Lai right before he was arrested. Pro-democracy activist and Apple Daily founder Jimmy Lai speaking to me back in December of 2020, shortly before he was sent to a Hong Kong prison under China's national security laws that they dumped on the ground in Hong Kong when they went and threw freedom fighters in jail. Lai has been held in solitary confinement since then. He's pled not guilty to 2 charges of conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and conspiracy to publish seditious material. Lai finished testifying on March 6th, and he now awaits a verdict, which could come in October. He faces up to life in prison if convicted. His son, Sebastien Lai, says his father's health is failing now, and he could die behind bars. Joining me right now is the man himself, Sebastien, who wrote an op-ed for the New York Post calling on President Trump to help to free his father. The son of Jimmy Lai and leader of the Free Jimmy Lai campaign, Sebastien Lai, is with us right now. Sebastien, thanks very much for being here.
Thanks for the try.
What you and your family have been through is just unbelievable. Tell us more about your father. How is he doing?
So my father is 77 now, and he's been in solitary confinement for the last 4 years. And it's all aimed to break him. It's essentially to tell you that nobody cares about you. You fought for freedom. You gave everything for freedom. Defended your people for nothing. They blocked natural light. His faith is very important. He doesn't get the Eucharist, so his health has massively deteriorated.
Unbelievable. They don't give him natural light intentionally. They don't want him to know when it's morning, noon, or night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's been making drawings. I know these have become quite iconic. He drew this while in prison, and he draws pictures of Jesus Christ. Tell us what conversations you've had. Here it is. With him. Are you able to speak to him?
Unfortunately, because I advocate on his behalf, I can't go back to Hong Kong. So I haven't seen him in 4 years. He was on the stand recently, as you said, for his national security law trial, and though his health has gotten much worse, it's this beautiful image of this man who is defiant and still fighting, and 3 national security law judges shouting at this 77-year-old, and he's giving it back. He's still sharp of mind and strong of spirit. So it's incredibly inspiring. When
the CCP went into Hong Kong and started throwing him and other freedom fighters in jail, they threw down new laws. These laws came out of nowhere, but suddenly there was a national security, under quote-unquote national security law, that if you talk negatively about the CCP, you will go to jail.
Exactly. My father is in jail because he ran Apple Daily, which was the biggest newspaper in Hong Kong. But more importantly, it was a pro-democracy newspaper. And for that, he's been in solitary confinement for the last 4 years. His newspaper shut down. A few of his colleagues were arrested as well. They sent 500 people to raid the newsrooms. It's heartbreaking.
And what do you want to say to people to better understand what the CCP is doing? I mean, China is now pushing to build Europe's largest embassy in London. And I want to get your take on this, because this is a project which was backed by UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. It happened despite national security concerns. And what's going on with your father? He is, of course, a British citizen. Sebastien, how do you feel about this new embassy being built?
Look, I think the United Kingdom talks about normalization of relationships with China. The easiest thing for the Chinese to do, to show good faith, for the Hong Kong government to do, would be to release my father. I mean, it would take them 3 hours to process him, put him on the plane, fly him back to the United Kingdom or to the United States. Where he belongs, it's the freedoms that he fought for, the places that he loves.
Make him a symbol of this.
Yeah, it'll take 3 hours and no cost to release him. And if they can't even do that, then they're telling you exactly what they think about you.
So what do you want the Trump administration to understand about communist China, as now, we're expecting a meeting between President Trump and Xi Jinping. We're expecting China relations ongoing. What do you want the administration to understand?
I think my father's story is that of a man who's given everything he has for our freedom, and in that sense, if you think about a child refugee that he was, and arriving at the age of 12 in Hong Kong, one of the freest places in Asia, and falling in love with these freedoms and dedicating his whole life to it, becoming successful in business, but then sacrificing everything he has for these freedoms, it's already a win for the free world.
Yeah.
And so it's teed up, and now we just need to save my father's life. As you know, President Trump has said that 100% he will see him released. Prime Minister Keir Starmer also was the first Prime Minister to say that, to say my father's name in public and ask for his immediate unconditional release. So this is about the release of a man who's fought so long and hard for freedom, but also about saving his life, because under the current trajectory, he might very well die in jail.
And it's about freedom. And I mean, your father is the face of that. He could have left Hong Kong. He could have left, but he didn't want to leave because he knew that without him, there would be absolutely no effort at freedom.
Yeah, and he also knew that if he left, his journalists and other protesters would be targeted, would be fished in a barrel. So he stayed to act as a shield, to defend his beliefs and his people. It's a tremendous story where at every turn he took the right decision, but the hard decision.
Sebastien, people used to look at Hong Kong as one of the major international hubs for global business. You can't look at Hong Kong that way anymore, can you? Now that the CCP is running Hong Kong.
I mean, I think the passing of the national security law, and you see how the Hong Kong government have weaponized its legal system to attack people like my father and other pro-democracy protesters. Once you weaponize your legal system, that's it. You can't be a financial center. How's that trust when you put someone in jail for 4 years for essentially running a newspaper?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I used to go to Hong Kong, traveling to Hong Kong to interview major CEOs when I was at another network, and people felt that Hong Kong was a place like New York, like, you know, like Paris. I mean, a place where you can transact international business. Has that completely declined at this point? Have companies and investors seen Hong Kong differently at this point?
Yeah, so I'll give you a perfect example in my father's case. So for a lease violation, which you know, in any place with the rule of law is at most a fine, especially when it was such a small violation. My father got 5 years 9 months in prison for that, and then in another case for holding a vigil, for saying a prayer. Sorry, not holding a vigil, for saying a prayer and lighting a candle at a Tiananmen Square vigil, Tiananmen Square massacre of 1890 to commemorate all the people who died there. My father got upwards to a year for saying a prayer and lighting a candle. I mean, is this a place where most Americans, in fact, most people from the free world will want to go to? I don't see it.
Because the CCP will not allow any honoring of any other god and any religion, because you have to honor the CCP.
I mean, in Hong Kong's case, it's one of those things where you see the Hong Kong government just absolutely cracking down on anything they believe is pro-democracy or pro-freedom. It's insane.
Unbelievable, including God. Okay, well, we are praying for your father, Jimmy Lai, and we appreciate you joining us. Best wishes when you talk with Trump administration officials, Sebastien.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sebastien Lai here in studio.